Hi friends, I am Yashwardhan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, starting from this video, along with my other series where I'll be sharing the videos on doing projects on Arduino and other things, this is a new series where I'll be talking and whereas discussing some basic circuits which you can use to measure the electronic components. Like in general, when you think of testing a diode, you generally use a multimeter, or sometimes you use some big circuits in order to test that. Similarly, you can, for example, in order to test any type of a timer, there are some circuits which testers available, which is very complicated and they are a little bit expensive. So main aim of this series is to be providing you a basic solution, simple circuits which you can use, which uses some basic components in order to just test whether it's working. The circuits which I'll be discussing in this series will be basic, and they will only tell whether the circuit is whether the component you are testing is working perfectly fine or not. It will not give out the values like the commercial testers that are available, but it is very useful for the basic. So in this video, let us start by talking about the basic measuring device that every electronic enthusiast and a person working with electronics has. That is a multimeter. This is a DMM. It is mainly used in order to measure the voltage, current, resistance, continuity, etc. In general, whenever you are getting new into electronics, it is not necessary that you buy a fancy multimeter which is costing 1000. A simple multimeter like this one, which costs around from 200 to 400 rupees, is just enough for the basics, and it is also very good for most of the advanced stuff also. So let us talk about this. Now, whenever you buy a multimeter, along with the multimeter you get a probes, as well as you get a manual like this. So now if you observe, if you just flip the multimeter, you observe the basic multimeter has two screws. You can just open them and you can change the battery. When you buy a new one, it will always have a battery inbuilt in it, so no need of testing. But once that battery is over and you are measuring anything, instead of this HV, if you are seeing here, you will get a small battery indication saying that battery is on. You can just change it at that time, at point of time. So now let us talk about the basic functions. If you observe, this is the off position. That means it is off. It is having an LCD screen. Now coming on to the right, this is a V followed by a small wavy line. This is used for testing the AC voltage, and the maximum AC voltage this multimeter can withstand is only 750 volts peak to peak, and this also RMS, and this is also 200. If you keep it in this, maximum is 200. Similarly, if this is for measuring the current. In general, whenever you keep in the current range, if you are keeping the value in these 3 points, if you keep the line in these 3 points, it's enough that you connect the red terminal here and the common terminal here. But when you keep it in 10 volts range, you need to connect the red terminal here. This is how it is working. Now moving on, this HFE range, it is used for testing the transistors, NPN transistor and PNP transistor, by using these pins here. By just keeping the transistor according to its pin diagram. Electronic base emitter, this has an emitter, this both for the bases, and this is for the emitter, and this is collector, and this is the base. So that's how. And similarly you have PNP also. By keeping in here, you can find its forward voltage. Similarly, next one is the continuity. This is used to whether the 2 points in electronic circuits are connected or not. Whenever they are connected, a buzzer will glow. And also it is used to test the diodes and LEDs. Similarly, this whole section is to measuring the resistances, and this is measuring for the DC voltage, and the maximum DC voltage which this can handle is 1000 volts. Now enough with the basic introduction. Next, now once you have already purchased this multimeter, how can you make sure whether it is working perfectly fine without connecting anything? Just connect the probes of these both probes, and always a small tip which I will be giving on, and many electronics engineers give, is that whenever you are connecting either a battery or you can connecting the probe, always first try to connect the negative probe followed by the positive probe. This is a good practice. Generally, people follow. This is a small tip that I give. Now going on. So now I will be discussing the basic test, basic things you can do in order to check whether multimeter is working perfectly fine. Just first test is keep it in the continuity range. Take both the probes and just touch them. If you observe a small beep buzzer sound like this, that means it is working perfectly fine. Another way is just keep it in this least value of resistance and connect them. If you observe a small amount of resistance like this, that means the multimeter is working perfectly fine. Other way is just go on changing the knob, and you can observe a 1 in this ohm resistance section, or suddenly the value is going big without connecting anything, value big, and again it is falling to 0.001 or 0.00. That means it's working perfectly fine. And this is the off condition, and again check. You can just check that. These are some of the basic things you can do in order to check whether it is working perfectly fine. In majority of the cases, this is the how you can check. Now let us move on to the next part, where we check the power voltage. And in order to do this, just keep it in the 20 volts range. And let us take the example of two sources which we will be generally using in my electronic circuit, which is a 9 volts battery, and this is a 1.5 volts AA battery that everyone uses. Now just in order to check this, whenever you take this battery, you observe it has two terminals. This terminal is a negative terminal and this is the positive terminal. You can remember like that. Otherwise, you can just see on the side, you have a positive sign indicating this is a positive terminal, and a negative sign indicating this is a negative terminal. Now just connect the probes, negative probe to negative terminal, positive probe to positive terminal, and just wait. You can observe the value is 8.57, which is the approximate to 9 volts. Even when you observe the manual, it is showing that in 20 volts it has a resolution of 10 millivolts, and it has a very small amount of resistance, small amount of accuracy changes happening. This battery is already used, so it is having a small amount of accuracy of 0.8% of 20 volts. Exact 9 is, so 0.8 volt is less or more it is accepted. And by the way, it's already used one, so it is a little bit accurate. Similarly, let us take, if you observe here, let us check this 1.5 volts battery or AA battery. Sorry, see, now I have connected it in reverse, so it is showing a negative voltage because I have connected to the negative terminal positive probe, and positive terminal I have connected the negative probe. So just you need to take care. See, it is showing 1.45. In general it is 1.5 volts, but it is showing 1.45. That means it's approximately, it's also correct. Now coming on to resolution. Resolution is the least change in the value that it can measure when it is in that range. For example, whenever it is in 20 volts, if there is a minimum change of 10 volts on 10 millivolts, only then this multimeter can detect, otherwise it cannot detect. Similarly, for each of these value, there is some resolution and accuracy which is generally given in this manual. In the manual we are also given about the different functions that is available in this. For example, in the 830D, see I am having 830D. Suppose if someone has bought 830, suppose let us say 832, then it is having some more functions, etc. That's how it is happening. And in this area, in 830, for example, let's see. For example, if you see here, in 830D, instead of 830C if you buy, you are also having a terminal where you can measure the temperature also. So there are minor variation, but in general I advise 830D. So this is how it is happening. Now, the next thing which I will be showing in this video, this is a basic video where I am showing about this multimeter and the basics like batteries. And also, when I am coming to battery, in most of the electronic circuits, we use a battery clip in order to connect them instead of directly showing wires to this. So, when you buy a new battery clip, and how can you check this with multimeter? Simple. Just keep it in the 20 volts range or any voltage range. Just keep it and connect them. See, if you observe some value like minus 0.001 or 0.000, that means this one is very good. Other tests you can keep it in resistance, and if you observe a least amount of resistance, that's also possible. Keep it in least amount of resistance, connect them. See, if you observe one, that's also an indication there. And sometimes, very rarely, both of these terminals might get shorted inside. In order to test it, keep it in buzzer and test it. See, if you observe one, that means it is perfectly fine. Otherwise, if its buzzer is moving, that means this is the bad one, but this one is good that I am having. Similarly, you can also test this battery case of 3 volts. So first test is the short circuit test. It is not shortened. Let's see if I am having some amount of resistance. See, it has no amount of resistance. Now if I keep it in 20 volts and measure, you may get a small amount of voltage. It's very less, 0.000. But sometimes when you have already used this and using it, a very less amount of voltage will be available, like 0.001, 0.00, very small least amount of voltage will be available. Now you have observed that now as I am saying this, now let us check this. Now without connecting this battery case, the voltage is 8.58 now volts. Now when I connect this and check, it is observed very 8.49. Without connecting 8.58 and with connecting 8.59. This is because when I am connecting this, at least a very small amount of voltage drop happens. That is also that you should account if you want for more accuracy. But if you are generally consulting yourself for fun or just for a normal purpose, it is not that important. But if you are really doing a project where you require high amount of accuracy, you need to take these things into consideration. The same thing happens when you are connecting like this, because see, if you are keep these two batteries here, and now when I tested, you will observe the value is 2.9 volts instead of 3 volts. Also these batteries are used, so little amount of voltage drop that will be there, and also by using this case a small amount of voltage drop happens. So now friends, I hope you have able to by this video you are able to understand what are the different functions that are available in a multimeter, and how you can check the battery clip and the battery case and also the battery. And when you buy a new multimeter, how you can check whether the multimeter is working perfectly fine. If you have any doubts related to this, please feel free to comment that down below. If you like my explanation please like this video and share it with your friend. If you like the video, I get some motivation in order to make more such videos. Also, if you have any suggestions or any kind of circuit ideas, video ideas on what kind of on what topic should I make a video, please feel free to comment that also down below, or you can mail me at my mail address given in the description, and I will see the mail and make a video. And if you are really interested in into my experiments and my explanation, please feel free to subscribe my channel to see more such videos. And I am going to continue a series, and also share your comments or your ideas on what all components should I include in this series. I hope, friends, you have enjoyed my explanation. I am able to convey the maximum amount of concepts that are required. If you have maximum amount of knowledge that I have available with me to you. If you like this video, please like I like my explanation, please like the video. And thank you, friends, and have a nice day. And I'll meet you again with a new video with a new topic. Thank you.